Hello, friends. So today I want to talk a little bit about how to take care of yourself when your nervous system is activated, especially when you are anxiously attached or disorganized attached, which means that you have both anxious and avoidant qualities. And then especially when there's also trauma or harm involved, and when your partner is away. And so if you're like, what is insecure and what's all these attachment things? I made videos on those things before, so you can have a browse and see them. But now the current situation, my partner is traveling for 2 weeks. We're at 1.5 weeks now. And there are great agreements on what we're doing in that time. And I'm noticing, I was fearing it, and it's happening, that my nervous system is quite activated. That means that there is this little bit of tension that's present a lot, basically constantly. And it's this tension that I'm like, I wish I could just think it away. I wish I could just tell myself like, no, you don't need to feel that. But that's not how it works, right? If you are in similar experiences, you probably know that when your partner is not there, it will do something. Because when you're anxiously attached or disorganized, but with a tendency towards anxious, there's a lot of confirmation we get from having someone close. And when they're further away, traveling, and in my case, also working and less available for communication, just because of practical reasons, it's a thing to deal with that. Like, my head will go into these escalation stories where the head can easily think like, oh my God, am I being abandoned? Maybe they are meeting other people. Maybe they don't like me anymore. Like all these stories, and the stories will fuel the feeling. Like basically it starts with that feeling of slight discomfort in the body. Then the head starts thinking stories, and the stories will make the feeling worse. And that might end up in like full-blown panic attacks or like really overwhelming thoughts that it's really hard to think about anything else. And last week I was like really sitting with it, and I was like, okay, where do these stories come from? Like, what's the underneath thing? Because it can be so easy to start fighting those stories, to be like, no, I shouldn't feel this, I shouldn't think this is not okay, I should be beyond this. But that never worked for me to actually get rid of the feeling. Like, some logic and some analytics might help and be like, there's actually not really anything going on, it's just I'm feeling a lot. But very often it's not helping at all. I can't think the feeling away. So when I was going deeper, when I was going underneath, it's like, okay, let's stop resisting these sensations and just really be with what's there. Then I suddenly got so afraid. I got so afraid and sad. And I noticed that basically I was just super, super scared to have another experience, because I've had those in the past, where my partner would be away. We would have great agreements that I would feel safe enough with. And they would come back and they would say like, oh, by the way, I broke the agreements. And that helped a lot. That happened a lot. Or partners would say like, I'll contact you. And they didn't, or much later, or not at all. So basically what I'm dealing with now is the anxious system, the anxious part of the system that is just terrified to be abandoned or to be hurt by this person who has the capacity to hurt me because they're so close. And last week was easier because I was at a festival. There was a lot going on. I had my friends around me. I was teaching. So there was a lot to keep myself busy with. And still, I would have my moments of feelings. And now I'm back home. I have these like post-festival drop, like less emotional resilience, like a thinner skin, taking care of my kids, dealing with all sorts of things, and I'm back home. It's always harder to be the person who's at home than the person who's actually traveling. That's my experience. So there are feelings. And what to do with those? Well, just rationalizing them is not a bad thing. I know it's like, it can help me to be like, so what are the facts? What's the reality here? What's happening? And like kind of like having like this grown ass conversation with the parts of my brain that are like, oh, panic, they are abandoning me, they're probably gonna hurt me. When they come back, they will have these stories. Just to have like this grown up conversation with those parts and be like, no, wait a minute, just, check the reality of what's really going on. So that can help, but usually it will help, like it might help me to not escalate further. But it usually doesn't help to get rid of the emotions. So one of the things I do now is when I notice that there is something I need from my partner, for example, a little bit of contact, whether that's a little voice memo or an opportunity to call, or maybe to send some photos, just anything that will help me feel included in their life, or just some sort of contact, like I will just literally ask for it. And that sounds so simple, but it actually has taken years to get there, because for a long time I didn't notice that that was what I needed. I might just, go into these kind of like resentful thoughts, being like, they're not contacting me. If they knew me, they would know that I need that. Or like, I'm just going to wait a few more hours. And if they don't send me a message, then I will, send them maybe a little bit of a passive aggressive message, or like 100 photos to see if they will like compensate, if they will like try to balance what I send. So I would not ask for it. I would just send them things hoping that they would get the message, or that they may understand what I need. And nowadays I'm like, no, my partner might communicate in a different way than I do. They might not get the hints. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it's not very fair if I don't ask for what I need. So let me try to figure out what it is that I need and then ask for that. Actually, that's super helpful. My partner now, when they notice that I need something, they actually just send it right away. And if I just blurt out whatever about my day, they might not respond at all, because they're like, oh yeah, that's your day, right? And just take that as information. They might not be clairvoyant. So just asking for what I need. Figuring out what I need. Is it a little bit of communication, or a call, or just a photo, or a selfie, or whatever it is, right? And then to not confuse co-regulation with codependency, because there were places where I learned that if I reach out and ask for something, it's actually a bad thing. It's being codependent. It's not being self-reliant. It's like you're not independent enough. You have to be able to solve everything within yourself. Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that heart. No, we need co-regulation sometimes. Sometimes we need the other person to feel safe. And that's okay. Let's please normalize that. You do not have to do everything by yourself, right? Of course, there's a fine line, and you might lean into codependency if your partner is your only resource, if you have no capacity to hold yourself. But combining, reaching out to your partner and asking, or your friend, or whoever you are in an attachment situation with, reaching out and asking for what you need, I think it's a super healthy thing to do. And then besides that, we can learn to nourish ourselves as much as we can. We can learn to reach out to friends and ask them for support, or to share, or to have the connection when our partner is not available. Maybe ask for a hug or a call, or some soothing touch, or just a space to rant and uncensoredly just blurt out whatever you're feeling, whatever it is that you need. I think it's good to have all these sources, all these resources, but let's not ignore that co-regulation, we're social animals, we need each other, that's fine. And if co-regulation in this case is when your partner is traveling, asking them like, hey, can we have a call? I just really like to hear your voice. I'm feeling a bit unsafe. And just, having that moment of connection with you would really help me. There's no hidden agenda. I think codependency is also a lot about hidden agenda. If I can say very clearly what it is that I need, my partner can say yes or no. And then I can deal with the answer, right? I think that's a healthy thing to do. So I'm doing that. Sometimes I do a little bit of conscious distraction. If I don't feel like feeling my feelings, because I'm feeling my feelings so much at a time, I'm gonna just go watch a silly series, or, do something. And the other resources, I'm using that too. Reaching out to friends, having chats, cuddle the cat, cuddle the kids for some co-regulation from other sources, making Facebook Lives, talking to people, and doing all these things, so different things. And also today I coincidentally had a talk with a professional about some not related to this stuff, but an emotional mental health professional, and to just talk about these things. It was about co-parenting, but we also mentioned like attachment stuff, and then just be validated by a professional who says like, yeah, when you are disorganized or anxiously attached and your partner's traveling, oh, that's hard. That must be hard, isn't it? To just get that validation of a professional who's like, yeah, your emotions are valid. To me, it helps. To me, it really helps. So, I don't know about where you live, but here in the Netherlands, like seeking mental professional help, it's still a little bit stigmatized, or maybe more than a little bit. And I would really want to normalize asking for professional help as well when you're struggling with these things. It's absolutely normal. It's absolutely healthy. And struggling with things like anxiousness, insecure attachment, trauma, hurt from the past. So many of us do. I think more of us do than don't. So let's absolutely normalize getting help for that and seeking support. So those are some of the things that I do. Reaching out to my partner, being very clear and explicit about the things that I need, asking them for connection, basically, and co-regulation. Seeking support with friends, reaching out to friends, co-regulation in different ways, maybe self-touch, touching pets, cuddling the kids, talking to friends, talking to professionals, and conscious distraction. Sometimes to just give your fucking nervous system a break. It's okay. I keep telling people like it's absolutely okay to just watch a movie or something, to just give yourself a break for a moment. It's not a bad thing to do. You know, it'll come back anyway, right? If you are on this side, you know what I mean. All right. Have a great day. Please tell me, what do you do in these situations? You are disorganized, anxiously attached. Your partner is not there. What do you do? Let's support each other. All right. Have a great day. See you later. This is Wilde Sophia, exploring deeper, and see you again. Mwah.